Okay. And I will just do a quick introduction. I am Nadia Colburn. Welcome. I'm in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I know many of you are here from lots of different places. So it's nice to gather today. And I'm going to be leading you in a short meditation and then giving you a writing prompt and then some time to write. So have some writing materials next to you, come to a comfortable position. I'll be guiding you through that. And then after about 12 to 15 minutes, we'll come back together in another meditation, another prompt, and some more time for writing. And then at the end of the call, there'll be a little bit of time to come into conversation, to share a little bit of your own writing, and also to ask me questions or one another questions about the writing life. I've been teaching writing for, a long time now, like 20 years, coaching writing, have been a writer. I write primarily poetry and creative nonfiction, but I also work with fiction writers. And also time to ask questions if you have any about that convergence of mindful practices and the writing life. So I will send you all an email with more information at the end. If you have to leave the call early, I'll send you follow-up information. You can, if you're on your computer, chat with any questions in the little chat box. So all of that specific things, and you can find out more about me at my website, nadiacolburn.com. Okay, so now come to a comfortable position, and I really want you to take this time and think of it as time for yourself. So give yourself permission really to be present, to feel your connection to your body. You don't need to be anywhere else. So when you're in this practice, be in this practice. And I will invite the singing bowl. And take a nice long deep breath. Perhaps bring your hand to your chest to feel that connection. And before we go into a silent breath meditation, I invite you just to move a little bit. Maybe move your head, roll your head, your shoulders. If you want to get up and stand and shake out a little bit, do that. Let's get some movement in the body before we're still. Maybe you want to bring your head down beneath your heart. Do what feels good to you, listening to your body. And when you're ready, come back to the seated position. Focusing your attention on your breath. And I'm going to lead you through a short alternate nostril breathing. So take your right thumb on your right nostril and inhale through the left nostril. And then put your ring finger on your left nostril and exhale through the right. And then inhaling through the right. Blocking off the right and unblocking the left and exhaling through the left. Inhaling through the left, blocking and switching. So you're exhaling, inhaling, switching, exhaling, inhaling. This is a powerful meditation to balance the left and the right hemisphere of the brain, of the air channels, the Ida and the Pingala. One is the moon energy and the other is the sun energy. So that we're coming into more balance, more equanimity. We're not overactive and we're not overly sluggish. We're able to both take action and to rest. I'm going to read you a very short poem by Rumi and then give you a writing prompt. Some of you know this poem, I'm sure, but it's always a little bit different. The breezes at dawn have secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. So my invitation to you is to find something. Perhaps there's a piece that you're working on. Perhaps you have an intention for the new year. See what it is that wants a little more attention. And to see if you can ask for what you really want around that. And you can be as playful with this as you want. You can, if you're working on fiction, you can make a fictional character doing this. If you can write a poem, you can write a journal entry, you can write a New Year's intention. And if you want, I'm going to give you a few words to work with. So the words are breeze, sleep, want, touch, open, and ask. And see where you go. Stay connected to your breath as you're writing, and try to come out of judgment mind. I'm going to repeat the words. Some of you wanted me to repeat them. They are breeze, sleep, want, touch, open, and ask. And they're whatever you hear. If you don't hear it perfectly, it's what they are for you. Again, stay connected to your body as you're writing. Try to see what part of your body you're writing from. Take another minute or two here, and we'll come back together in meditation, and then I'll give you time to come back to this as well. Let's go right back into the meditation. So we're practicing with being active and then being more receptive and seeing if we can make those transitions more smoothly. So see if you can, I am going to give you time to go back to this writing, but for now, see if you can focus your attention on the breath and know that your writing will be there for you. And actually, if you can give your mind a little break from it, you'll have more insights when you return to it, or perhaps you'll want to do a new piece after the meditation. but let's come back together. So with the right thumb closing off the right nostril, inhaling through the left. And then with the ring finger, blocking off the left and exhaling through the right. Inhaling through the right. Blocking it off and exhaling through the left. Continuing at your own pace. If the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. Being with this naturally balancing, revitalizing meditation. So again, you exhale, inhale, shift, exhale, inhale, shift. I'm going to read you the same poem again. The breezes at dawn have secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. So you can return to the same piece that you were working on and try to see if there's something different in it that you didn't see before. Is there something that you want to say that you weren't able to say? Is there some place that you can add more specific detail? Is there some place where you said, I want this, where you want to change it to, I do not want this, or I do not want this, that you want to reverse it and so you do want it? Is there some reversal? See what it's like to read into what you have and then take it in a different direction or deepen it. So you're visioning and revisioning with your writing. And if you want to kind of jog your mind to go in different directions that it might not normally go in, here are a few words you could use. Breeze. Sorry, no, those were the ones I gave you before. Here are the new words. Dawn, secrets, back, and don't. And I'll write that down. Dawn, secrets, back, don't. And have a good time, go on a journey with your writing, come out of judgment, and just see what happens. See if you can surprise yourself. And don't forget to stay connected to that breath and to that body. And if you haven't already, be specific if you're asking for what you want, or if your character or your poem or whatever it is. But be bold and specific. And one more suggestion. See if you can smile as you're writing. So take 1 or 2 more minutes here, and then we'll come together. So, how was that? I'm going to unmute you all in a moment. But I invite you to practice with pausing in the middle of writing and then coming back to your writing and seeing if you can notice something different or take it in a different direction. And I hope that that was interesting for you. And I'm going to unmute you so I can hear how it went for you. So the challenge with this format is it's really hard to unmute everyone. It gets really loud and feedbacky. But I just want to start doing that to invite anyone who wants to jump in and share any observations or perhaps share some of your writing or ask questions.
It was even wackier in the second time around.
Could you go like to more unusual places because it was the second time? Yeah. Cool. Fun.
Well, mine, I don't want to read it, but I was writing about wanting to be in bed and enjoying the cradling and wanting to keep that with me. And it was so restful. And then the second part, I wrote about how, well, that sleep wasn't so great anyway. Maybe being up was more restful.
Nice, like a 180-degree turn.
Yeah, yeah. And they're both true, so.
Yeah.
Well, I'll read some of mine.
Thank you. Oh, and I'm just going to invite you. Can you say your name before you speak so that I can speak? Thank you.
I'm Andrea.
Thanks,
traveling
Andrea.
around, but currently in Portland. Awaking from a restless sleep, I touch my heart open to the day ahead. What is it that I long for today? What is it that I want? Want is a word fraught with struggles for one raised in an era when it was not okay. When did censoring first start? I search my memories to find the moment when the childlike wishing on a star, a tree, or even a dream turned into the message that wanting was wrong, was selfish. Was it a message that I did not interpret correctly, or was it so strong that it consumed desires? Some say that many of the next generation have wanted too much, become too self-focused. Did that need to occur so that the next generation after could flourish into caring for one another again as one of their wants? I choose to remain hopeful that this awkward balance can be found among desire and the giving caring, that we can find our balance. I step outside into the dawn. The breeze flutters within my soul, chills, unsure if I'm ready to unlock the secrets that trap desires into the void of should nots. I don't go back inside yet, wrapping my shawl more tightly around. I lift my gaze to the foggy sky, rain clinging on the bare branches, seeking. For many, this is the season of wants. Perhaps that brings focus on my hesitancy, my struggle to define. What will it take for me to open my heart, to bring my soul chance to light and bathe in the delight of knowing? What will I ask?
Yeah. Such deep questions, and really just such good questions. What's authentic wanting? What's authentic asking? Especially in our age of overabundance in material goods, but often poverty and caring. So thank you so much.
Hi, this is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
I'd like to read the poem that I wrote, as long as the dogs don't bark. The breeze knows my body, gentle, bent lifted, it calls through the open window, wishing for me to meet it. Full walls are the splinters that take me where I become, as straight as the beams, as hard as the planed and varnished, vanquished floors. The walls close in, taut with secrets. Touching me in the hidden places, the breeze whispers its wish, open this window. I would turn from it, but there is no room. I want to move, I long to move.
Nice.
Thanks.
Oh, that open window we step through.
Thank you
so
for
much. Thank you.
I think my name's Erin Mitchell. I wrote the different things, and I just realized it wasn't on purpose. I didn't realize how different they were. But in hearing the last two poems in particular, I can see how similar they are. And one felt very present, and one felt very past. And it's a little unsettling, honestly, in a good way, I think. But how similar I think they really were in the integration of one, my own personal past and present, but also of the writing that I did that felt very different. That has a lot of crossover.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Allowing us to do something different both expands our boundaries, our range, but often also helps us see our center more. Because we sometimes feel like, oh, I have no boundaries, I have no range, I could be so different, so all over the place. And then we see that interconnection, right? We see, it's okay to explore because it's all connected. Anyone else want to jump in? Some of you might be, I tried to unmute you all, but it looks like many of you are still muted. So if you are having any challenge, just unmute yourself. You can either do on your phone or on the computer. So if no one wants to read, this is also a time to ask questions. Oh, did someone want to read? Mary, did you want to read?
I'm not going to read, but I'll just make a comment that the first one I took, part of my writing practice sometimes is to take a line of a poem. And so I did that when you read the Rumi poem. And so that first one, I wrote my own poem, but essentially the word key word of that poem was about trust. So then the second part, what I found is that I went straight to with a lot of clarity, maybe because I just turned 60, I'm also like, what do I really, really want? And I've been asking myself that question. So when you say, what do you want? It was very clear. And I went to not only what the things are that I want, but all the steps getting there. And it was, kind of not an outline, but something similar to that. And what seemed like an awful lot of loose writing projects that, have been in the works for a while, because of the first poem based on trust, I realized there really is nothing holding me back. They could all happen this year. And basically it's a matter of trust.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. So thank you.
You might want to take your writing and post it up for yourself. I do this at various times. Like if I have a real intention, it's very powerful to write it out and then post it where I can see it. So many of you might want to do that. You just come back and you remind yourself, and then we forget. We see it again. Oh yes, I can do this. All those different projects seem overwhelming. I can just trust and just work on them and get out of my own way, because a lot of it is about getting out of our own way. And I want to open it back to you all again, because I know there's so much synergy between what so many of you are doing. And also open it up to any questions. Yeah.
I have a question.
Great. And would you just say your name again?
Oh yeah, Irina. Hi everybody. So my question is, I found it interesting that you had to sort of go back and rethink things, because I have I enjoy revising when I'm kind of halfway there with a draft, but I found it really, really, really difficult this year to take a draft that's nowhere near what it needs to be and work on it, right? So I know all the advice books say, you have to be willing to write the bad stuff or even throw it away. I can throw it away, but I don't know how to take the thing that really isn't working and start to move it in the direction that it is, if I wasn't at least halfway or 2/3 of the way there early on. So I was wondering if you had any advice for that.
Why isn't it working? I mean, how do you know it's not working? Like, what are because I guess I asked that question because it's like, well, if it's not working, then all the more you want to kind of go in and say, well, let me revise this a little, because it's off my vision, right? And if you have that image of the airplane, people say airplanes are off course 99% of the time, and they're just being redirected. So to see that revisioning process, perhaps as a process of continual redirection. What did I say? What do I really want to say? What do I really want to ask for? How do I really say that? I don't know if this is helpful or not, but sometimes I find it helpful even to get away from the page and to try to speak it out, because there can be a disconnect. So speak it into your phone, or get a friend to ask you, what are you trying to say in this paper? And sometimes I'll do that with clients, like, what are you stuck about? Okay, just talk it out to me, and then I'll take notes, and it's easier to say it than to write it sometimes if you're lost.
That's useful, because the problem is with finding the voice. It's not that the things I've written down aren't what I want to say. It's that they're not really me yet. They don't sound like me yet. And that's funny to write so much that doesn't sound like me.
And do you think that's because you're assuming a kind of someone else's persona, like you think you should sound a certain way?
I think it's actually because I'm trying not to be too academic in my writing, so I'm going very far in the other direction to kind of balance it out, and I'm having trouble finding the happy medium that still sounds like me but isn't isn't me being a scholar, it's me being a writer.
So just a quick little revisioning then perhaps is maybe that's just part of the journey and you're doing something really new and exciting. And so instead of saying, oh, what's wrong with me that this isn't working this year, this is so hard, I'm so proud of myself for trying this new thing and I'm going on new terrain. So of course I'm going to have to bushwhack and it's a new path. And I did have the thought, I was like, well, maybe it doesn't sound like you because you were changing and you're discovering what that new voice is.
Yeah.
So just to maybe be a little bit more patient with the process and coming back to that word of trust, because we too often cut ourselves off. This isn't working. I have to stop. I need to do something else. But I'm just going to trust. I'm going to keep going. See where it leads me.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good luck. I want to read your new writing when it's ready. Anyone else? Other questions?
Nadia, I have a question. Again, I'm Erin. You and I have talked before about like when you're doing a project and then you find all these sort of passion projects along the way. Maybe not all of them. I find that I'm finding all of these passion projects. And I'm not distracted exactly because I'm enjoying it. So it doesn't feel like a distraction. But I'm having a hard time merging all of it. Like it doesn't feel like a distraction. I'm not enjoying it, and it doesn't feel like I'm not able to do all the things I'm wanting right now. But I would like for there to be more overlap, which is kind of funny in light of what I said in my previous comment. I found the overlap, but I'm wanting that. Like I'm wanting. Well, I mean, I could just re-say it again. I want the connection in those.
Yeah.
Is that? Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And I mean, I don't know because I don't know the specifics, but just a few thoughts. One is that there might be more connection there than you're aware of, and it might be more obvious to someone else than to you. Because in the same way that, you know, a family resemblance, you might not see as much. Like, oh, I look like my sister, but someone comes in and it's like, oh, you guys look identical. I'm like, really? Very different. But so maybe to bounce it off someone else often can help you see those connections a little bit more and put them together.
Yeah.
And maybe they're kind of coming together too. So you need to be patient and kind of see with that question in mind. I mean, I know for me, actually, one of my intentions for this year is to just focus a little more because I have so many things I love doing and I love doing them. And then it's like, well, what am I going to give up? I don't know, but it also feels like I want to go a little deeper with one thing for a while.
Yeah.
And that's where I am now, but I need to make some close. So it's the word really in that poem. It's not you must ask for what you want. You must ask for what you really want.
Yeah.
And that's often a really hard thing. So meditate on it. Time is limited. What do you want to focus on? And to really kind of prioritize that a little bit. And then when you're doing the other things, consciously say, well, how is this related to the thing I'm focusing on? And make that connection more explicit.
Yeah, that's great, actually. The focusing on it, asking the question, which honestly seems self-evident, but I'm not sure that I have done that. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Asking, right? It's in that poem too.
Yes.
And a lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's, and if you don't demand what you want, you ask for. You ask and you listen. It's a question. To think of that relationship, which I think is getting back a little bit to Andrea, your piece, like the thing is we think we can take what we want. It doesn't say you can take what you want. It says you can ask for what you want. Don't go back to sleep. Or you really want. Not what you want out here, like, oh, I think a new car will make me happy, even though my old car works perfectly fine. Like, what's underneath that? And then what's underneath that? And how do you create that life, that listening to be in dialogue, then that reciprocal relationship started. Yeah. Anyone else?
I have a question. This is Francoise. Did anybody have a response to the people going through the round door in and across the threshold? I was puzzling over that, and it didn't. I was just curious what anybody thought that meant or did anything with it.
That's what I wrote about was, this is Mary. I wrote about, that was the line I started with, the door is round and open. And I wrote about water on both sides going through the portal, that liminal space. Side was lighter, darker. And I think one of the most powerful lines I underlined was, I cannot sink myself even if I try. So for me, it was about the floating and moving through that round portal. And weirdly, I had already used the words that you gave us the second time were actually in the poem in the first draft. So
Nice.
That's kind of a crazy thing.
Does anyone else want to respond? You might be muted, so you can unmute yourself.
I found those people really unsettling. I don't know. I found that for me, was a very tense part of the poem. Everything else was so lovely. And then the people walking around outside felt agitated and unsettling to me.
I'll read those lines again.
Yeah.
People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. I always read that. And again, it can be read in lots of different ways, but I read it as walking back and forth between life and non-life, whatever that is. And that life is short, and that the space of that we don't know, that the place of mystery of beyond is very close. It's right there on the other side of the door sill. And that we can wake up to the power of life, the beauty, the meaning of life by seeing how close it is to what's just beyond the door into the unknown. But other people can have completely different readings, which is nice about the poem because it really is, the door is open.
For me, in the first section, I wrote about the freedom I feel in feeling wanted or not. And then in the second time, I wrote about my dad's suicide. And then when I was listening to those poems, that was the line that kept speaking to me, that teetering. And I felt like how my dad was teetering and how I feel like I teeter, and like I'm wanted, I'm not, I'm comfortable with that, I'm not. And I felt like the people in that who steps backwards and forwards and sort of chooses to wake up or chooses to go back to sleep. So I was very uncomfortable with that line too, but I really felt like I was the people in that. Either I will stay awake, I'll accept the breeze, or I'm not. I'm choosing the quiet, shut the door, go back to sleep. It was powerful to me also.
Nadia, could you read that line again? Is it going back and forth, people going back and forth, or is it walking back and forth?
In this translation, it's going. In this translation, it's going. I don't know what the original is, but it's going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open.
So for me, that was also interesting. I think because of the word round, I had an automatic connection with water.
Mm-hmm.
I think of a ship and the round windows. I don't know. Did anybody else see water? Am I just a freak? I didn't see walking at all. I saw going and I saw it as fluid.
Mm.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, that's what's nice about it, is that it can become lots of different things. We don't have much time left. So maybe someone who hasn't spoken, or even someone who hasn't been on, I don't know if there's anyone here. I think there's some people who haven't been on these calls before. I think Kathy, maybe. Thank you for speaking. I know it's weird to come into these spaces with, what is this virtual space too. So if anyone else wants to, and Mary, I feel like we've had interactions before, but maybe not on these calls. Anyway, anyone else who wants to share something, I really invite you to. And it, again, can be maybe want to say your intention aloud or ask a question about really anything having to do with writing, the writing life. I'm here to answer. And just unmute yourself. Okay, well, we are out of time, so I am available on email. I also will send out a recording to everyone, and you can use this kind of practice to meditate and then write, and then meditate again and go back to your writing. See if there's something else you notice. It can be very powerful practice. Also to really ask for what you want and to get comfortable with that in your writing and in your life, you know, and think about, like, it's the really, what you, I should add the really, going down underneath those surface to the depth and staying with that. I wasn't going to do this, but I had the idea that my 31-day course, which is a course of meditation and writing practices, which actually I know a lot of you on this call are part of that ongoing community and practice, but I'm not going to open it to the public for enrollment until January. But if there's anyone on this call or who signed up for the call who's interested in that course, I'll send out an email link with information about it. And I just, until Monday, I thought I would open the course up to people who signed up for this and give you a 50% discount. So that if you want to practice with it over the holidays, or even give it to someone as a holiday gift, or have it to set your intentions for the new year, it's available to you. So again, it's 31 practices of recordings with a meditation, and there are lots of different meditations. A writing, then I read a short excerpt, either of a poem or a piece of prose, when I give you a writing prompt, and then I give you supported time to write. And you can download all of those or see them on the website. And then there's a way to turn that practice into a year-long practice. So if you want to really deepen your writing in this kind of mindful, generative way and get out of your own way, I invite you to look at that course. And I'll give you a payment plan option as well if you want to break it into 2 payments. But just until Monday, I thought I'd open it up to you and give you a nice big discount to encourage your writing and encourage your, you know, the deepening of this practice. And those of you who are already in the class, because once you enroll, you have lifetime access. Go back to it. It's there for you. And I know this is a super intense time with the holiday season. So see if you can take those 15 minutes for yourself and recenter and tune into your voice and write. It will often make whatever else is happening around you just a little easier to manage. And if you have writing projects that you're working on, even if it's outside of that, don't forget to go back to that practice to help you. Like Irina, like you can use that. I know you have been, but also use the practice. Again, that's one of my answers. Like, go back to the meditation and see, just choose a random prompt and see if that helps you. Sometimes putting in that little bit of randomness, there's just the synchronicity that, that we need. So thank you all so much for being here. I so appreciate being able to come together like this. I'm super available over email. Also, you know, you could even pick up the phone and call me, and wishing you all lots of light and good things. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nadia.
Bye.
Thank you, Nadia.
Hope to connect with you all again soon. Bye-bye.